Hello, hello, hello. I got about 45 minutes here to talk about all the moves in the NHL. I know I'm surprising everybody here. I'm going to be on later on too. I'm going to come on this evening and I'll talk more about all the fine frolic that happened in the NHL today. What a freaking day. What 2 days. Amazing moves. Um, so for now, unless you guys want to bring something up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through each team that the only team that didn't make any moves was Anaheim. But hey, how you doing, Daniel? Nice. But you guys will control what the content will be if you comment down there and you want to talk about a specific team or move or what have you. But if you don't, I'm going to finally use some cap friendly, which basically is going away. And I'm really sad on my insides because that's the case. I hope somebody comes up with some site soon because it is by far the best NHL site in the land. However, I can see it. And if you want to comment on anything, if you want to talk about any of the moves or what have you, just let me know. Anaheim didn't do a damn thing. So I'm going to go on cap friendly. I'm going to start with the team with the highest, basically has the least amount of cap space. That's the Washington Capitals. I'm not going to go in alphabetical order because I don't know my alphabet that well. So, but I'm going to start with the Washington Capitals and the moves they made, not just up today, but up until now. Made some really cool moves. I'm one of the few people that just think that Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to find a place there in Washington. I've mentioned it before. Got to keep him away from the surf, man. The guy's a big surfer, dude. And I think that like living in Washington, it's going to be much more landlocked. A lot different, a lot less ways to get in trouble or to not pay attention to what you're doing and stuff like that. And I think he might not turn out too bad there. Also, he's playing with Ovechkin and guy like it's a much more veteran laden lineup. He doesn't have to be the guy. Now, one of the problems in LA was I think they typecasted him wrong. I think they wanted him to be like a big shutdown guy until Kopitar left and then maybe take over the number one role. And that's just not what he is. Dubois is not a shutdown center. He's big, but he doesn't play that way. He's not the greatest defensively at all. He is a guy that you want from the blue line, the offensive blue line, to the net. That's where he does his best work. Other than that, he is fairly confused as to when to take those risks or anything. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. The only thing he knows is get the puck or find a spot in the offensive zone and get a shot away. He has no idea about a system that you have to play. Like that's why he was bad in LA. He's just not a system guy. There's other guys that are like that. There's lots of guys in the league. Brady Tkachuk is actually quite a bit like that right now. He could grow into not being like that, but you're not getting a system guy here. But you are getting him now with one of the best young coaches I've seen in a very long time in Spencer Carberry. So I have a feeling that he just might be able to get the best of him. And another thing that it seems to be with Pierre-Luc Dubois is he gets a little flustered when everything gets way too serious. You start putting too much pressure on him, and he tends to fade. The thing about Washington is, although they put a lot of pressure on themselves, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're like, don't give a shit or anything like that. They really know how to have fun there in Washington. If you saw when they won the cup, might have been one of the most epic party teams ever. And it seems to me that they take time out throughout the year to really have a good time and enjoy things. And not saying that they don't take like hockey serious would be wrong, but it's not continuous. They take time out to kind of just go, all right, let's get away from hockey for a while and do stuff like that. And I think that could work out well for Dubois. The Mangiapane trade, I thought that was a great trade. Great two-way guy. By the way, Washington seems to be really growing into one of the better analytical teams in the league. Certainly with drafting. But heck, it's a little expensive, but it's only till the end of this year. Brings a lot of speed, which they really didn't have a lot of in Washington. So it's going to help out that way. But their top four lines of Ovechkin, Strome, Wilson, unless they maybe put Dubois up there. I think Strome will stay there. Mangiapane, Dubois, and it says Oshie, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to finish a year. I don't know. He looks pretty beat up. But so you would have Protas and then McMichael, LaPerriere. I would actually put McMichael up over with Dubois because he's not really a two-way guy. Mangiapane is a very good two-way forward. That's why I said that I think they're paying attention to analytics a lot, picking up Dylan Strome, who is a very good two-way centerman. Mangiapane now. Dubois is not that, but I get it. They needed a second line center, and it's not easy to find that. And then, of course, they went out and got Jacob Chickering for 26-year-old. It was tough to give up Jensen, but he's 34 years old. I mean, he's probably the better defenseman right now, to tell you the honest truth. But Chickering's only 26. He's hitting his prime. I get it. And then they picked up Matt Roy from Washington, who I can't remember. I have to. I thought they just looked up Matt Roy. I'm going to look at the analytics for Roy. I think he's just a pure defensive defenseman. Huh? Yeah. No, actually, his freaking numbers went through the roof this year. Again, wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a freaking. I didn't even realize he was driving lines night like he is right now. This was a fantastic pickup. Now, I think it's based on the bottom four. Like, what a great pickup. So I would give Washington a big A for what they've done this year so far. Really good work. Like, I didn't even realize I haven't been paying attention to it. But Matt Roy, a righty, too. You can play with Sandin, who is still trying to figure it out at 24 years old. And then you got Fair Harvey. I mean, watch out for Washington next year a little bit. I mean it. Like, picked up Thompson from Vegas. I can't remember what they gave up for him. Anybody remind me what they gave up for Thompson? But, I mean, pretty solid backup for sure. Charlie Lindgren. Good 1A, 1B there. I say they knocked it right out of the park, my friends. I think Washington did a hell of a job there. They haven't made too many mistakes for a while. And their drafting has been absolutely fantastic. So, just to let you know, I'm going to be doing this probably about half the teams here, and then I'm going to be coming back later on. So, make sure you're out there. Oh, let me share this out to the land here so that people know that I'm on. Actually, it doesn't really matter. I'll be sharing it out tonight. This is just for the diehards. What happened to my freaking There we go. Camera went all funky there for a bit. Okay, so let's look at the next team. We're going by least amount of cap space down here on Cap Friendly, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, they went out and got Chris Tanev, and geez, they almost should have went and got Waugh if they could have. I mean, I don't know if they could have, but I think by the looks of it, he's almost as good of a defenseman. Yeah. Tanev is elite defensively, though. Absolutely elite. And of course, we know what he's not afraid to drop him. He's a very physical dude. It's a very good pickup for the Leafs. I know that $6 million for 6 seems like a lot, but he probably will be on long-term injury reserve by the time he gets to the 4th year. So they could at least bury that at that time. I really do. The way he plays, the odds of him being able to play past 38 are very slim. And he's not going to retire. So it just goes on LTIR. But for the immediate future, this is one hell of a play. It's one of the better deals that Toronto has done in quite a while, to tell you the honest truth. I mean, and then they went out and got Ekman Larson for, I think that was a little bit of an overpriced, but you know, he's only 32, but at least he's going to play on the bottom 6 here. You don't want to be playing him higher than that. And he can play some power play time. But with Tanev, they're just a much better team. Just with Tanev alone. And then they went out and got Anthony Stolarz to play with the Wall, which is really showing a lot of confidence in this 25-year-old kid in Wall. Because, I mean, he's a kid. And this is a win-now team, and they're rolling with Wall, obviously. Stolarz is good. He's never been able to, so far in his career, maybe he's one of those guys at 30 years old, he takes over the crease. I mean, last year he showed that he can hold his own, that's for sure. 2.03 and a .925, playing against a really good, in front of behind a really good Florida overall team defensive game, but still. I don't know. I just got this gut feeling that Stolarz is one of those late blooming goaltenders that ends up taking the crease from Wall and really start putting it all together. He's been going at it for quite some time. I got a feeling, so I got to say that I do like that move. I do. Who am I missing here? I know I'm missing somebody. Oh, they didn't sign Bertuzzi. So they're putting a lot of stock in McMahon to play in that top 6 unless they do something more here in the offseason. I don't mind McMahon. I kind of get it. I mean, you got to pay $5.5 million. They wouldn't have the money for that. But the depth really hasn't gotten any better. Apparently, Nicholas Robertson has asked for a trade too, so that's going to be a spot they're going to have to fill. They signed Max Domi, 3.7 for 3 years. If you guys have been paying attention to me, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of Max Domi. He brings grit. Does he really? Does he, though? Does he? He brings whininess and bad penalties behind the play and a very poor defensive game. I don't like the move. I'm not a Domi fan at all. Signed up Timothy Liljegren, and a lot of people aren't giving him enough credit. Like a lot of Toronto fans, they kind of treat him like an afterthought. But he has improved every single year he's been in the league, and he's only and he's only 25 years old. And last year, he added a little more to his offensive game, which took away from his defensive game. But there's nothing wrong with Liljegren. Nothing wrong. I think he's ready to take that step up. He's a 5'6". Yeah, I think people get a little too caught up sometimes in the physicality of a player. It can be good. It's always good to have physicality as a player, but you got to be good. Like otherwise, you're gonna pay $8 million for Jason Trouba, who looks like he could be moved out of there. I'm hearing that it could be to the Detroit Red Wings too. Having Sherratt and Trouba on the same team, that would be ugly. But decent moves all around for Toronto for sure. Didn't mind it. If I forgot a move that they made, please let me know while we're talking about this. I'll make sure I'm in your live chat. Connor Timmins. Yeah, I guess that's it for Toronto. Next. Like I said, we're going top to bottom as far as cap space is concerned. The Vegas Golden Knights didn't make a lot of moves, but a few players go. Marchessault. But I forgot. They made one hell of a move. I don't know how they did this. Not in a million years. I cannot imagine why New Jersey let Alexander Holtz go for like a second and a third or something. That was ridiculous. That kid's got a shot, man. It's crazy hard wrister. He's got a lot of work to do in his overall game, but most young players do. But I mean, he's got all the tools to be a top six winger for sure. And they picked him up for basically pennies on the dollar, which is insane. I don't understand what New Jersey was doing there. Unless he basically behind the scenes indicated to them that he wouldn't re-sign long-term there because he's been kind of buried there for a while. And I think that might have been the case. But yeah, he's still pretty raw. He's still got a lot of work to do yet. But I suppose that's why they felt they could let Stevenson go, Mantha go off the books. The kid's got a lot of upside. He's still really, really young, and he looks like he got much better last year on pretty much every aspect of the game. So I can't see it not happening. Now, I thought that was a fantastic trade by Vegas. No doubt about it. What else did they do? Well, Hurdle they brought in last year. He'll be so you got like Barbashev, Eichel, Stone, Dorofiev, Hurdle, and Holtz. They're looking to play him on the wing. Howden, Carlson, Brisson, and Ronberg, Roy, and Kolasar as your fourth line. Defense is still strong. I guess they figure that Nicholas Hag is ready because it looks like he's going to be in their bottom six. And of course, who did they trade? I'll find it. They traded some defensemen away, so they feel that Hag is ready to take on a full-time role. And he just may be. Next, what do we got? Vancouver Canucks. What was their big move again? Jake DeBrusk. I like that move by them. I thought that was a fantastic signing. Uh, he had his ups and downs in Boston's, but his overall analytics are fantastic. He's a very good two-way winger, and I think he's going to fit like a glove there with Miller and Besser. Or they could possibly play him with Pedersen, depending on what Vancouver does for the rest of the summer. But that was a great move. He's closer to home. He's from Edmonton. He's back to Canada again, and he's, to me, very underrated. People don't really give him enough credit for how good of a winger he is there. And they also went and got Derek Forbort, which is, meh, okay, whatever. Defensive defenseman, pretty good defensive defenseman. Doesn't bring any offense at all. And then they left it at that. But they're a stronger team now, I think, with DeBrusk than they were before they got him. So nice pickups there. Minnesota Wild didn't do anything really. I hear they're trying to get DeGrady or whatever from Winnipeg. What the heck is his name? I always forget his name. Yeah. Anyways, he decided he didn't want to sign in Winnipeg, so he is going to go off into other lands, and apparently Minnesota's hot after him. And it makes sense. I mean, you got Rossi there. He had a pretty decent year as a 22-year-old. I don't know if he's going to be much more than a 50, 60-point guy. Zuccarello's coming back at 37 years old. Marat Kuznetsov got a pretty good chance last year. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why they made this deal, because DeGrady is probably more likely to he's more ahead of the game right now. He's more mature than Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov is a really young kid, got a lot of talent, but I'm not so sure that he can play right now. So you can put McGrady in there, and he's just coming out of college, so he's much more physically ready to play. Nothing much happened on defense. Still a pretty average team, I would say. Nothing spectacular about this team at all. Until they get off those two contracts off the books, which should be right away. That being Zach Parise and Brett Suter. Let's see if I can find that here. How long they're on the books for yet. Where the heck is it? That's weird. I just saw this. Oh, okay. Total salary. Maybe that's why. cap hit. Huh. Can't find it. What the heck? Are they already starting to shut her down here or what? Stan Cavins just reported Mitch Marner to Seattle. 6 years, 10 million, but they got to make a trade to have that happen. Slow day for Philly, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they got Michkov now. They did get a defenseman, if I remember correctly, though, didn't they? Philly? Oh, 2 million. Finally, I found it. For Minnesota Wild, they have 2 million in cap space, so they're pretty much done now. Philly, I thought they got, didn't they? Or did they just re-sign Johnson? Yeah, it looks like they just re-signed Johnson. Basically running it back again, same team. Stan Keebans, Marna, 6 million at 10 million per. But that would have to be a trade. Let's see if I can find Pro Hockey Rumors tell me anything on that. I would think that would have to be a trade. Huh. All right. Yeah. So they didn't really make any moves. Yeah. They got Michkov. That's what they're happy with right now. Maybe do some stuff, or sorry, through the off season, or keep their cap space and try to add. But I am not seeing anything on this Mitch Marner to Seattle thing that you're talking about here. So if you can give me a link to show that that's happening, but I don't see it. Well, Joel Quinville now just became available to coach. They reinstated both all of Stan Bowman, Al McIsaac, and Joel Quinville. So Quinville's out there as a coach right now. Jets to sign Capo Kakinen, really. I mean, that team is messed up, man. Hurricanes closing in on a 3-year deal for Shane Gostisbehere. That does not surprise me. After losing both Pesci and Shea, they're bringing in Gostisbehere. $10 million. So he's getting 3.3 something to play in Carolina. I don't know that. Like, let's look at Carolina's cap space here. Yeah, Stan Bowman didn't do a good job in Chicago as far as I'm concerned either. I have to agree with you there. Um, I thought he was pretty lackluster, but I don't think he goes back to Chicago, Joel. I don't think so. I don't think he can walk that. Who's needing? Is there a team that really needs a coach right now? Top of my head. Did Seattle hire somebody to coach? I don't think they did. Maybe that's what they were waiting for. Maybe they were waiting for Joel Quenneville to come in and take over. But gosh, the spirit of Carolina. Carolina does not mind changing things up and letting people go. And I mean, they got their dollar value that they think they want for every position. And if it's not enough for you, then you move on. But they lose Pesci. I think actually New Jersey overpaid Pesci quite a bit there. Tell you the honest truth. And who else did they lose? Who else did they lose? Oh, Shea. They lost Shea to Seattle. So they definitely needed to get another defenseman. Let's see who Carolina. There we go. Right now it'd be Slavin, Brent Burns, Orloff. Chatfield's good, but now you're going to give that Morrow finally a shot at 21 years old. No, actually, because Gosh Despear is going to come in. You'll have Gosh Despear and Coglin. Not bad. Still not a bad defense, I would say. Um, what was Gosh's analytics like? Gosh Despair. Yeah, pretty. I mean, he's so good at shooting. He's a great, he's a good power play guy. He draws a lot of penalties because of his speed. Like he's not a bad player at all. Actually makes it pretty good. What I know Pesci's been dwindling the last 2 years, and I know that Donnan is a very analytically driven. Yeah, 2 years he hasn't been. He's been good offensively, but he hasn't been very good defensively. So you get the better. Believe it or not, Gosh Despair is actually really improved defensively, like to the point where he's above average now. So I'd say that's a pretty good play. That's a pretty good play. But it just doesn't seem to me like Carolina doesn't care doesn't care if you move on. They're and don't think like they're not angry about it or whatever. They're not. That things change and they have a tendency to roll with the punches pretty darn good. They didn't really change anything with their top 12. They got Carey signed up, but their forward group is pretty much the same group coming back. And then you got uh, a younger line with Chatfield and Coglin and Morrow, and now Gosh Despair. Gosh Despair probably pushes Morrow down to seventh defenseman, and or Dylan Coglin, depending on which side he plays. Nice move. All right, what else do we got? Oh, jeez. Okay, let's talk about the Sharks here for a bit. I'm going to have to get going. I'll be back later on tonight. Don't you guys worry about it. All right, I'll be back. Sharks signed Alexander Wenberg to a 2-year deal worth $5 million annually. Wenberg is one of the finest defensive centers in the game. He's not very good offensively, but he's really good. And I am seeing, and I'm going to talk about San Jose here, and then I'm going to probably punch out, and I'll be back later this evening. We'll talk about all the other teams and all the other moves. But I think San Jose, I think Greer is doing an absolutely freaking fantastic job at the San Jose team. It doesn't look like the Couture is going to move. They're going to keep him on. Macklin Celebrini, well, I mean, that pretty much landed on his lap, but he is compared to Taves and Bergeron and guys like that. Oh, is this? I don't think he made a single good decision in the entire tournament. Yeah, he didn't make too many. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably understating how bad he did there. It wasn't very good at all. You're right. I'm not going to argue with you there. That's for sure. There won't be any debate with me saying, oh, he did this or good or that good. I don't think he did anything good. Stan Bowman was not very good for Chicago at all. Tyler Toffoli, average defensive forward, drives offense very well. Actually had a down year. He's actually, generally his whole career, he's been above average as far as driving defense. When I say driving defense, I mean playing the game with a defensive mindset in all three zones. This isn't about blocking pucks or stuff like that. I mean, that's not to say that blocking pucks isn't important, but I mean, it's not the be all end all. You don't want to be blocking pucks. Something has gone wrong if you have to block a shot. Now, in hockey, you're going to have to. You're not going to be perfect, but the best players that are two-way guys, Bergeron didn't block a lot of shots. Considered one of the best, maybe the best defensive forward of all time. And he didn't block a lot of shots. You know why? Because he wasn't in his own zone, and he had, or either that, or he had the puck on his stick, or his players had the puck on his stick. That's what I mean by defense. And Toffoli is absolutely fantastic at that. Even though he's not the best skater in the world, I love this pickup by them. And they paid premium for this as well. He's $6 million for the next 3 years till he's 35 years old. But I think that's not a bad wheelhouse for what he is. 33 goals last year. We'll see if Celebrini seems to have this idea that he's going back to Boston, but I can't see it. I think they're going to play him right away. He's too good, and they don't have really anything else to put there. But getting Wenberg is one of the smarter players in the league. Again, he doesn't block a lot of shots. He doesn't hit a lot of people, but he knows his positioning all over the ice and plays a fantastic defensive game. And getting him at $5 million for 2 years, it's not too bad. But this team's going to be a lot better next year. I think this team's going to surprise people next year a little bit. I think they're going to do some stuff that Barclay Goodrow, even as a fourth liner, is a very good defensive forward. He's overpaid for what he is, but he's very good at what he is. He's not going to provide much offense for you. He can kind of work not too bad on a line up and down the lineup, and he knows how to perform a role of an additional guy on a line, So I didn't mind it. I guess he was pretty pissed off that he was going there because he had a no movement clause. no trade clause, and San Jose was on that no trade clause, and but he didn't have a no movement clause, so they put him on waivers, and San Jose picked him up. And yeah, you got a family and stuff. I totally get it, but he is going back to where he started. At least he's going somewhere familiar. It's just the whole thing is he was looking at winning cups, and now you're in San Jose. But I think this team's going to be a little better than people think. And the Jake Wallman move is a freaking beast move, man. What a fine move that is, getting Jake Wallman for basically pennies on the dollar as a cap dump. In fact, I think they got Wallman in a second. Wallman's better than Mario Ferrara. So they have their top number one left defenseman. And he is a great two-way defenseman. The guy has blossomed into one of the better two-way defensemen in the league. He's got a huge shot. I don't understand what. We'll see what Stevie Y does from here on in, but I'm sorry. Like Stevie Y, growing up, I had a life-size poster of him on my wall. He was always one of my favorite player in the league. I loved him. He's one of my favorite humans. Favorite male humans on the planet. But I'm telling you right, I'm going to say it here. He's not a good general manager. I'm hearing that he's going to go get Trouba now. That's retarded. Sorry. Trouba's horrible. At $8 million a year, and then you're going to have Sherratt and Trouba on the same. They're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. And until they can swallow their pride and admit it, that Stevie Y is just not a good general manager, because he didn't build that team. That was Breezeball that built that team. That's quite obviously now in Tampa Bay. Stevie Y didn't really do all that much, I don't think. I could be wrong, but from what I'm seeing, what he's doing in Detroit and some of the draft picks that were made at that time and all that kind of stuff, I hate to say it because I love the guy. It's one of my favorites in the land, but Stevie Y is overrated. He's overrated as a general manager. He's not very good. But they got Shakir Macamadoulan coming up, 6'4", big, huge dude. Love the pickup. They also drafted. Oh, who did they draft? It was a really good pick, anyways. I'll talk about it more when I come back. But I had to come on and talk about some of the big moves of the day. And I'm going to come back later on tonight. I'll bet you I'll be on all night. The Canadians signed Slafkovsky to $7.6 million for 8 years. What a freaking great signing that is. What a great signing that is. My gosh. That contract's he's gonna kick himself that he signed that contract. I'll tell you that right now. Because Slafkovsky's going to be worth way more than that in 3 years. I see one person here on Pro Hockey Rumors said, anyways, yeah, the guy said, after 120 goal season, I hear this a lot, and I got, like I said, I got to bail out of here right away, but I'll be on later. I hear this a lot from You know, like, well, he only had 120-goal season. Well, you want to wait till he has a 40-goal season and you got to pay him $12 million a year? Good organizations, the best organizations, lock young players up on projection of what they're going to be, and they hit on it. At $8 million a year, Slavkovsky's projection is probably like a Svechnikov or something like that. And they sign him for 8 years at $8 million a year. With the cap going up, 7.6 actually. 8 years at 7.6 million. Now, if he reaches projection and it looks like he's heading that direction, even if he's only a 60-point guy, at the end of that 8 years, he's only like 20 some years old. He's going to look like so underpaid, it's going to be ridiculous. And if he reaches as good as what he looks like he's going to be, honestly, I would have fired his agent. That this was a terrible decision by him to take this at 8 million. Like, he's losing money all day here. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be back later. I'll probably be back at. Oh wow, we got 38 people in here. Oh, thanks for coming in, J-Man. I'm going to be back later. I should have been on with Hot Take Hockey too, but I was busy today. But I'm coming back later. I'm going to talk about all the rest of the teams and all the moves. But I wanted to get on for a little bit now, just because I'm excited. My favorite time of the land, free agency. Anyways, hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far. Be watching because I'll be back on probably 5 o'clock, somewhere around there, East Mountain Time. You'll see me back on here and we'll talk about all the other teams and everything else you want to talk about. Have a great day till then. And if I don't see you again, then have a great day. And all you my Canadian friends out there, I'm Canadian. Hope you're enjoying your Canada Day. Yeah, that's how much of a hockey geek I am. I'm going to sit and talk about hockey all evening on Canada Day because that's what I want to do on Canada Day or any day. Talk to you later, everybody. Bye.